Morning, everyone. I am here to talk about accepting and understanding bugs, stingers and all. Now, that's kind of a vague title. I could go on about how bees and butterflies are brilliant pollinators that help the ecosystem and must be protected. Or maybe I could say about how not many people know about what ants and beetles do for the environment, but they're really important too. Or perhaps I could get controversial and say many bugs, such as spiders and mosquitoes, are fundamentally misunderstood, and even though you may not like them, they are just as important for our world. I imagine most people agreed with the first one, but I may have lost some of you with the last one. So, that's why I'm going to talk about bugs, and why you should care about them, from the small-scale impacts they have within their own ecosystems, to the larger impacts they have within climate change. But first, what even is a bug? Let's start from the beginning. Under Linnaean classification, organisms are grouped into a domain, then kingdom, then phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species, going from largest to smallest. The genus and species come together to make the scientific name. For us, we're Homo sapiens. True bugs are an order of insects, including cicadas, aphids, and bedbugs. However, when most people say bug, they're including a lot more than that. One might consider bugs to be all of the arthropods, a phylum including spiders, insects, and crustaceans. But even that isn't the full picture. If we want to include snails, slugs, and worms, creatures you would consider to be bugs too, we should count every terrestrial invertebrate. Bugs are easily the most common animal. There are over 1 million species of arthropods described by science, but all researchers agree that is a low estimate and there could be up to 10 million arthropod species. Compare this to mammals, with 5,500 living species. There are infinitely more bugs than there are mammals, and they each play just as important of a role in the ecosystem. But non-mammals are given so much less research funding, media attention, and consideration. So, let's talk about some of those misunderstood bugs. Arachnophobia is one of the most common phobias in the world. It seems almost everyone hates spiders. But the thing is, all that fear is irrational. Of the more than 43,000 spider species, less than 30 have contributed to human death. Spiders are not adapted for hurting humans. Spiders are small animals that are not looking to hurt you. Spiders go into your home because it is warm and sheltered. Spiders go into your baths and sinks because they are thirsty, and the smooth sides mean they can't climb out. Spiders' venom is specialized for their tiny prey. Spiders chase after you because they aren't very smart and they think your shadow is a good hiding spot from you. Spiders are very, very tiny and can't do anything to you. But arachnophobia is evolutionary, right? Well, it doesn't really make sense as a trait for us to evolve. As discussed, spiders are essentially harmless, with the few species that are deadly mainly being in South America or Australia, rather than Africa, where humans evolved. In terms of the fear itself, people tend to be more scared of spiders' legs and the way they walk, as opposed to their fangs and the damage they can cause. Spiders are great. They work as pest control, reducing the number of flies and other annoying insects from your home. There is nothing wrong with wanting your house free of pests, and the best way to do that is letting spiders, their natural predators, do the work for you. Now, on to mosquitoes. Firstly, I don't think people understand the diseases mosquitoes carry. Only 9.3% of mosquito species are proven to be, or suspected of being able to transmit diseases to humans, meaning the vast majority of mosquitoes are harmless. Only mosquitoes of the genus Anopheles are a vector for human malaria, and Aedes aegypti, the yellow fever mosquito, carries yellow fever, as heavily implied by the name, alongside other viral diseases. Secondly, People don't understand the range of mosquitoes. Mosquitoes can be found worldwide, but the deadly ones, such as the aforementioned species, reside around the equator. That said, the rising global temperatures brought on by climate change are increasing the territories these mosquitoes can live in. Mosquitoes that spread disease in human populated areas should, of course, be controlled. But using pesticides harms the environment and human health, impacting far more than the insects it's intended for. Solely looking at mosquitoes also misses a huge part of the puzzle. It is no coincidence that mosquito-spread disease outbreaks happen in the poorest areas. Little clean water and a lack of sanitation are perfect for mosquitoes. Only by improving the lives of poor people and stopping climate change can we halt these outbreaks. And the thing is, mosquitoes aren't useless. Mosquitoes have a role in the ecosystem, with males pollinating plants and both sexes serving as a food source for birds, bats, and fish. So, wasps. I think a lot of people don't understand what wasps are. You hear wasp and think of the guys on the right, yellow and black creatures that try to rob you at picnics. But wasps are actually a hugely varied group. They're a suborder known as Hymenoptera, which includes these classic wasps, but also ants and bees themselves. That's right, ants and bees are just evolved wasps. And even excluding those, most wasps aren't like the ones you're thinking of. Most wasps are solitary, meaning they live alone, and parasitoid, meaning they lay their eggs on live bugs for their larvae to eat from the inside out. The famous tarantula hawk is an example of this, a wasp with a sting capable of paralyzing a tarantula, which it then drags back to its den and keeps alive to keep the meat fresh for the babies inside. Not the nicest method of child rearing, one could argue, but it doesn't really affect us. These kinds of wasps rarely sting humans, if they're even capable of it. Most wasps are tiny, some as small as a grain of salt. And the aggressive wasps you're used to, they are good too. They have a role in the ecosystem as important as that of bees. They're valuable pollinators and they're predators that keep down the number of pests who would otherwise devour our gardens. Lots of orchid species rely solely on wasps for pollination, and we wouldn't have figs without wasps. And what about hornets? Hornets are so mythologized, it's almost funny. I have heard everything about murder hornets, how they will chase people down, how a few stings will kill you, how they are the size of your hand. Murder hornets aren't a thing. Most people mean the Asian giant hornet, which, whilst having a painful sting, isn't very inclined to attack you and almost certainly isn't going to kill you. Hornets can be found around the world, and they have a role in the food chain as top predators. Bugs, in general, are important for our civilization. Since the Middle Ages, we have been using bugs in medicine. Leech saliva contains anticoagulants and antiplatelet agents, reducing blood clots and increasing blood flow, alongside an anesthetic so you don't feel a thing. Initially used for bloodletting, leeches are still used today for venous congestion, when blood vessels and reconstructive surgeries aren't carrying blood properly. In fact, all sorts of blood-sucking organisms are being studied for the proteins in their saliva, like mosquitoes and flies, which have the ability to stop blood clots and prevent an immune response. We've also domesticated bugs to fit our needs, such as the honeybee, which has been bred to be docile and produce honey, and the domestic silk moth, whose cocoon we use to make silk. Bugs have their place in technology too. Self-cleaning surfaces on medical equipment have been inspired by the microscopic structures on butterfly wings, which repel water and dirt. Their simple genetic makeup and fast lifespan has led to fruit flies being used throughout the scientific community as model organisms for experiments. Spider silk is an incredible substance, and, being low density and strong, it has potential uses in medicine and engineering. And bugs could be the solution to some of our global problems. Insects breed fast, take up little space, and are protein-rich. An ideal food source. Now, before you throw up, hear me out. Meat production is one of the leading causes of climate change. With forests cleared for agricultural use and livestock producing methane, bugs are a brilliant alternative. Edible insects are cheap and can be made into a powder, and, I speak from experience, don't taste bad at all. On a worldwide level, all of these bugs are so important. Everything is, because despite the prevailing narrative of humans ruling the planet, we don't. No one organism is better than another. We all rely on each other. Protecting bugs is just as important as protecting lions or penguins or anything else, because every bug lost is one less food source for birds, one less animal keeping the prey and plant population in check, one less compound we could discover to help make medicine. Every loss of biodiversity is a loss of biodiversity, no matter how small. So, next time you see a bug, even if it's scary, don't swat it, just leave it alone.